Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Joy Nook Club, and we are in part two of our Mosaics Anthology author spotlight interviews. And I am very excited because the next few ladies that I will be interviewing, it's interesting how when you see people, you think you know them. Oh, you see them in their element around you, whether it's church or social in the community or at work and things like that. And a lot of times, we as women, we play so many roles and have so many layers. And in Mosaics, I was blessed to be able to say that I truly, and I know y'all heard me say it in part one, but it this book showed some things. It showed some real things that these women had to sustain and had to endure and heal from. And this young lady that's sitting in front of me, Key Noble, I am so impressed by what I read. And I have to say that you never know someone's story. Like when they sing that song, you don't know someone's story. And you can and to prejudge the way she and y'all see that beautiful melanin that's sitting right there. You see that smile that's full of joy. You
Mhm.
see her peaceful countenance, and it comes from a place of growth, learning, healing, acceptance, right?
Mhm.
Forgiveness. I mean, so much in love, so much love. And I y'all know when I get nervous, I start doing that stuttering thing, like I don't know what to say, but I do know what I want to say. I want to say so much, but I want to be able to give her an opportunity to talk. But before she gets started, I want to read just a snippet of her bio. Okay, Chiara A. Noble is a visionary, a woman of many talents who wears many hats. She is an ordained minister, wife, mother, daughter, sister. Many people call her friend. She is a property manager by profession, newly published author, and co host of Victory Talk, a virtual talk show centered around helping people to grow, speak, and live a victorious life. And when I was saying all of that, that is so true. And look, for those of you that don't know, all of the information to get to Victory Talk will be in the description box right underneath her name. So don't sit up there going, "What was that name? What did she say?" Don't do that to me. Just listen and pay attention and enjoy. But I want to give Key the opportunity just to kind of talk a little bit more about herself and why she said yes to this project for Mosaic.
I don't know, you pretty much summed up who I am in a nutshell, and kind of what I have going on. But to answer the question, it literally fell into my lap twice.
Mm,
The first time that it was mentioned to me was, from my sister in Christ, Jackie, Lady J. She mentioned to me that she was working on a book project. And so she thought of me because knowing my story,
mhm,
on a personal and intimate level, she
right.
just thought, that I would be good, for the project. And so when she mentioned it to me, I said, yeah, that sounds good. Sounds
Hmm.
good. You know how we, get this idea in our head of things, and I'm just like, not thinking back on all of the times that I said that I could write a book about my story. And it's
Right.
funny how we verbalize these things and don't
Mm-hmm.
even realize that we're putting them out into the atmosphere.
Oh yes,
And I
yes.
mean, as I was going through,
Mm-hmm.
the struggles and the everything that I've just been through in the story, it that led me up into this point. I always
Mm-hmm.
just used to say, man, I could write a book about this. I mean, there's so much I could write a
Right.
book about this.
Right.
And so, time went on, and I kind of I entertained the idea for a moment, and then I'm like, okay, am I really ready
Mm.
to, share with the world? Because at
Right.
this point, only, my family and a few close friends knew, about
Right.
what had happened. And I'm just like, oh gosh,
Mm-hmm.
if I share this, if I put this out there, it's
Right.
like opening Pandora's box. You can't put it back. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, and as transparent as I try to be, I'm just like, oh wow, like that's a big one. I just don't know. And
Right.
so fast forward up into the point when I said yes, it came back around again. And that's how, those who I can't even say Christians, just people in general,
Right.
that when something is meant to be, whether you want to call it God, whether you want to
Mm-hmm.
call it chance,
Yeah.
happenstance, whatever,
Yes.
going to be. And
Mm-hmm.
so, the project was supposed to come out, I believe, at a particular date, and it got pushed back for whatever reason. And I truly believe that that thing got pushed back so that I could get in there, because I think
Right.
that I was either the last or one of the last people
Mm.
to get it. And when it came back around again, I was convicted, and I said,
Yeah.
okay, Lord, okay, you're just not letting me leave this thing alone. Like, you
Yeah.
know how he do.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Right.
like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So I say yes, and here I am.
And here you are. Well, I tell you, um, reading through it, and I just want to give y'all her chapter title, okay? Take it all, but not my baby.
Mm,
Y'all just saying it gave me chills. I am one that I read a book strange. I know. I go through read chapters first. I just read the chapter titles. And certain chapter titles can get me. And when you talk about my baby, because everybody knows how I am about mine. Anything I pay
mhm,
taxes on, you better not mess with. So when I read that, Keem, and hearing you say this, okay,
mm.
when you going through the writing process, how did you feel laying so much vulnerability on the table? Because this is huge. What you wrote about is huge,
Yeah.
my sister. It really is. So, how did you feel going through that reliving it again process?
It's funny that you say that, because that was one of my concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Because I, not like many people, and actually somebody that I came in contact with, another show that I did, and I had a similar story with that young lady,
Uh-huh.
not really, um, not really knowing how I was going to feel,
Mm,
having concerns. And I'm just like, okay, this is going to reopen, some old wounds.
yeah,
Just,
I'm
this
sure.
is going to take me back, to a
Yeah.
place, that I had tried to kind of tuck away and bury for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But the different part of my story is that I'm still like living through it, up
Oh,
until this
mm,
very moment that we're speaking. There's
right.
still no closure. And so
Oh,
that's what makes my situation, a little unique and a little different, is that I had to dig back in. But it's not like the happy ever after where, at the end of the
gosh.
fairy tale story, there's,
Mm,
it's just everybody lives happily ever after. No, mine is ongoing,
right.
and so, just but then, in my moment of conviction, and in my, just like when I
Mm,
accepted my yes to ministry, I feel like when I say something, and when I make a promise or a commitment to do something, I have to give it my all. And so,
yeah.
realizing that although there's going to be some tears, there's going to be some,
Mm,
just all kinds of emotion, probably some anger, probably some fear,
There you
all of
go.
these emotions, just coming flooding back. But I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I got to get it done, because prayerfully, this will bless somebody, this will help
Yes.
somebody, this will heal somebody.
Mm.
So, I had to just kind of navigate the waters like we do everything else.
Right.
And it really wound up being not as difficult as I thought it would be. It
Good.
actually was
Okay.
therapeutic, in a
Okay.
sense, for me to do it. Yeah.
Right. And what they say, I don't know if anyone knows, she is actually a storyteller and researcher. Her name is Brene Brown, and she teaches about vulnerability and shame. That's her thing. Like I love her.
Wow.
But she talks about how, there's major strength. Like you can't have courage without having, vulnerability. You
Hmm.
cannot have, the two cannot exist without each other. And if you aren't willing to be vulnerable, which that you were, you cannot say that you had strength to walk through. And as you just said, it kind of solidifies what she says is that, you know, whether it's ongoing or it's ongoing healing, or it is something that you're able to get through, move through, learn from, and move on. Either way, you cannot have the courage without the vulnerability. And this is synonymous of courage, because to tell your story, you have to have that vulnerability to be
Hmm.
able to do it. And I thank you for that. I really thank you for that. And so, with this being an ongoing story, did you get the writing bug where it's like, you know what, I need to tell, I want to tell more?
It's funny that you say that because, and I'm gonna use this as confirmation.
Hmm.
You know how we get those aha moments, and
Yeah.
we call it the light bulb, but really it's God. And
Yes.
so, as
Yes.
I was sharing with my husband the other day, he asked me where did I see myself going from here, and
Hmm.
just to share, a little bit of background with everybody. I call myself a writer, by nature. It is
Hmm.
something that I have been doing for a very long time. I mean, and I'm seeing it in my baby girl now who's 9, and she's writing stories and books
Oh,
and stuff. And
wonderful.
it's just so exciting to me
Oh,
because I feel like that might be around the age when I started.
uh-huh.
Um, but just being able to pick up a pen and write a song or write a story or
Mm.
write a poem.
Yes.
I'm a writer of all things. And so
Yes.
it really comes to me pretty easily. And so I told him, I said, well, I'm thinking either if I should elaborate on this story, and come out like with a whole book about it, or if I should dig into the realm of writing children's books, because I have a series in mind for that.
Look
And
at that.
so now that you say that, with this story, I'm just like, okay, maybe I should start there, because when Deborah Franklin and I had our initial conversation about me
Mhm.
being on this project, I said,
Oh,
I saved all of this stuff from the court battle, from everything that I had prepared
right.
for court. I
Mm.
literally have, and we're talking about, my son was 8 and he's now um 20.
Mm.
And so, I'm just like, this stuff I have it in a
Right.
briefcase. I have
Right.
hundreds of emails. I have documents. I have it all. And, and when I talk to her, I'm just like, oh, wow, this is it. Like, I knew that I held on to it while he was younger in case I needed it for further legal purposes.
Right.
But now I didn't know, once he became of age and everything was kind of done, I'm like, why am I still doing this? And it's still downstairs in the closet. And
Mm.
so it's there for a purpose. And
Yes.
and like I was telling my husband, it's kind of hard sometimes to remember. You can remember big things or big
Mhm.
events, but to remember intricate details of things that happened so long ago, not so
That you
much.
did. Right.
So I have it all right there. I might as well And you know, and I think it's going to be, I'm still torn on whether it's going to be like a just me and this is my story, and you know, of course tried not to name names and that kind of stuff,
Right,
or
right.
if I'm going to make it more like a urban, you know, fiction type
Look
book.
at you.
It could go that way too. And I
Yes.
know it would be. I told him, look, I'm putting it out there. I said this thing would be hot off the press bestseller.
Presses.
I cannot make this stuff up, y'all.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, so
Key. Key. Look, I everybody says I am the best cheerleader. When you want to do something, you call me and say, Aaliyah, this is what I want to do.
I
And because
know
I'm
that's
gonna hype you
right.
up.
I know that's right. And I appreciate you for it, because Lord knows we all need that encouragement.
I'm telling you, because and that's the thing. Oh my gracious, y'all know how I get, because y'all know how I get, because y'all know we got another guest coming on, but I'm gonna say this, y'all. But Key, your story, whew, your story, Christians, we got so much soft Christian out there. And, we have women that have gone through and need real. And when I say soft Christian, to me, that's the everything comes out sweet, like apple pie, and look like
Mhm.
rainbows. But I am now meeting women that are writing relevant
Mhm.
and and very impactful Christian urban novels.
Mm.
And honey, this right here, I would say do it.
I
I'm gonna
know
tell you
that's
right
right.
now. It is good. And if you have that much material, God had you keep it for a reason.
Oh yeah.
He didn't put it in your belly to just say, "Oh, now it's time to throw it away."
Yes.
So,
And
you
there
know
had
what?
been times along the way where I was like, I don't need this anymore. Let me get,
Right.
get out the shredder. And then something just told me to wait and just to hold
Mhm.
on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this this would
Yeah.
be excellent book, excellent. And when you say you got the court documents, one book that I read called Behind Closed Doors by Lakeisha Johnson, right?
Mhm.
She had she it was like two chapters that was all about the courtroom. I mean, that thing
Oh,
was hot
wow.
like fire. Christian,
Yes.
she admits it too.
Mhm.
Christian romance novel writer. She wrote that thing. I told her that court scene right there set it off, like set it off.
Wow.
So
You can look, you getting me excited now. I'm
I'm
about to get out
telling
this
you, I told
interview
you,
and get to
people,
look.
people call me when they want to get pumped to do
Yes. I ain't planning on starting writing tonight, y'all, but
but put it in your 2022, your 2022, 2023 plan. Take your time with it.
absolutely.
Walk with it. Get the right people involved with helping you to edit and make it sound like yours. But girl, your chap, it was good. I enjoyed you. I thank you again for
Yes.
being part of this this project of mine for Mosaics Part 2. Y'all, I'm gonna let her say a little something. If there's anything that you would like to kind of leave a word of encouragement or anything with my audience, Key, if you have anything, please, the floor is yours.
I would just like to say, in closing that, I encourage you, like she said, to pick up a copy of the book, to read the book, to
Yes.
not only, keep it to yourself, but share it with somebody else. Because
Mhm.
as I'm, navigating the waters and getting feedback on my chapter, people, everybody knows somebody that's going
Yes.
through something that's in
Yes.
there. And
Mhm.
so, without giving away too much, it's about losing custody of my son. And we all, we think that custody is automatically awarded to the mom unless they are, have some type of drug addiction or alcohol
Mhm.
addiction. But I'm
Right.
telling y'all, it's not always the case.
Right.
I'm a living witness that it is not always the case. And
There you
so
go.
if you get the opportunity to pick up a copy and, read it, you will be able to see and
Hmm.
read and feel and hear, and I pray that I was descriptive enough for you to be able to put yourself in that
Yes.
situation and, just get whatever encouragement that you need to get out of it.
Yes. Key, thank you so much. And she said it, y'all. She said it. So I want y'all to stay tuned. We have another interview. We have Pixie Lee coming up next. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this station identification break. Thank you. All right, everyone, we are back. I hope that you enjoyed Key Noble. I'm telling you, these authors from Mosaics have been just really imparting some fantastic wisdom that as you walk through the book, you will be able to hear and see those who are being interviewed. And our next guest, Pixie Lee, her personality is contagious, y'all. Contagious. Church Girl CEO has contagious personality.
Absolutely.
And I know everyone is probably saying, but Alenia, if everybody has a contagious personality, but in their own way, but we
Right.
all are there, one, glorifying the body of Christ. We truly
Absolutely.
all love the Lord, and then we're business women, and we're here to help each other navigate, as I keep saying. So like I said, if you're watching this and you are an entrepreneur and you're a female out there trying to make things happen, and you want yourself a knit group of women who truly love God, then I am telling you, come on over. Come on over. Church Girl CEO. Remember, all the information, contact information will be in the description box. And I don't want to labor us long because Pixie Lee is, when I first met her, we were actually getting ready for a speaking engagement. And when you're
Mhm.
getting ready for a speaking engagement, everybody is on there, and you have you have those who, they're quiet, they say
Mhm.
what they gotta say, they keep it moving. That's an
Mhm.
Alenia. And then you have those who give you phrases and stages of wisdom to make you stop and say, no, she didn't just say that.
Mhm.
This is Pixie Lee right here. And I so enjoyed everything that she was saying, and how she was navigating the process. And I want you to know that she's so open and honest about her journey and what she's doing, where she's at, how she's getting there, when something's bothering her, and that's what you need. You need people that surround you that are going to be honest, and they're not going to sit up there and make it play business. I'm just going to say it like that. Play business. Oh, I own a business and I'm doing da 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 da. No, Pixie will tell you, no, look, this is what's going on. This is what I gotta do. This is what y'all need to be thinking about, like she puts it all in perspective and lets us know that one, we have value, and she told us all the value that we were bringing to the table is unmatched, and that
Absolutely.
we should not be discounting ourselves at all, whether it's a part time business or a full time business for
Right.
us. And that, when she said that, she just doesn't know at the moment. I was going through, y'all, all things through, okay? And I was questioning a lot of what I was doing. And when she said the things that she said that night, she doesn't even realize the impact that she had on my life at all. And I wanted to use this opportunity to let her know
Thank you.
that
Thank
she
you.
definitely, her words and her honesty really helped me in a few times that I was just like, oh, struggling with the business. So y'all, I'm not gonna hold y'all because y'all know me. I'll talk and talk and talk. I'm only giving you a snippet of her bio, okay? And Pixie was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and educated in the Cobb County School Systems. She obtained her degree in accounting and began her entrepreneurial journey in 2010 by opening her accounting and tax firm. And then watch this, because she reinvents herself because she doesn't stay stagnant. If it's not working, she's gonna move. So watch this. After things slowed down, she returned to corporate America while still running her firm on a part-time basis. So remember when I said she will let you know. No, you do what you have to do.
Absolutely.
But don't let your dream die of owning your business. It's just that you have to kind of reinvent yourself or navigate differently
Right.
to get things done. I want to go. She didn't want to build her business just the traditional way. So she wrote her first book,
Mm-hmm.
The Power of Purpose. Her book opened doors and connected her with people who have been instrumental in assisting her to build a life coaching business. So, did you hear what I said? The first business was accounting and tax firm,
Mm-hmm.
and now she is doing life coaching. Tapping into her skills, she became a ghostwriter. In 2020, she released her second book, Forgiveness is Key, and started her publishing company. She started doing accounting and taxes, y'all. Okay. She published her first collaboration project as well, titled An Anchor for the Ages. It's her goal to publish 50 new Black authors. Pixie lives by the mantra, if she takes care of God's people, God will take care of her. So, y'all, I am so honored to have her here with us. And Pixie, I know I did not do at all justice to all of your bio because I know you have some new projects going on
I
as
do. I
well.
do. That was just, like you say, a snippet of my
Yes.
life.
Yes. So please tell my audience a little bit more about the things that you are doing
Okay.
out there in the world of this entrepreneurial life you're living.
And I do live it. First of all, let me say thank you, thank you, thank you. Not
You're
only for
welcome.
this opportunity, but for your kind words.
You're
You
welcome.
cannot even imagine how that makes me feel. It is literally my goal to make sure something I do or something I say helps anyone on their journey through life, through entrepreneurship, or whatever they're dealing with. So I
Yes.
greatly appreciate it.
Yes. Oh, you're
I
welcome.
am Pixie Lee. I run 4 companies and
Mm,
I also work a full-time job.
mm,
So
mm,
I
mm.
save the world in my full-time job by day, and then I come and save the world one purpose at a time at night. I am
Yeah.
content creator extraordinaire. So I got all the words. So whether you need a bio, whether you need email marketing, whether you need a blog or a newsletter, whatever written words you need
Mm,
to connect to your current and future clients, I can do that for you. One thing I can tell you is I do not stay stagnant. When I
mm.
do see that there's a need for something, instead of trying to go and find the person to do it, I create that space. I did come back to the drawing board in 2020. We were
Mm-hmm.
all going through the pandemic and everybody handled it a little differently.
Yes.
I was blessed enough that I worked during the entire pandemic, so my struggle was a little different.
Right.
But I also saw that people were dealing with depression. They were dealing
Mm-hmm.
with questions.
Yes.
We dealt with a lot of death in 2020, even though I know we're still doing that now, but it was just a different type of death back in
Yes.
2020. Then our kids, their lives had been turned upside down. And I decided then it was time for God's people to
Mm.
hear from the people God had called.
Mm. Say it.
Hence,
Mm.
PL Publishing was born. And
Ah.
my goal then at that point was to drag my father kicking and screaming over into authorhood. It was
Bring
not
it
a word, I just created it. So I drug him kicking and screaming over into authorhood
Yes.
and made him a first-time published author with this first collaboration. I not only took my daddy kicking and screaming, I took my uncle and my cousin as well. So I put a dent in that 50 in one fell swoop.
Yes, indeed.
My publishing company was created to help men and women in ministry write books of collaboration and motivation through telling their story.
Yeah.
One thing that we do, we want to make sure that man of God, that woman of God is leaving their stamp on the world, even when they're gone, because long after you have gone home to glory, your work will still speak for you.
Yes.
Your work will still be here, but nobody will know that if you don't put it on paper. So we are here. Me and my team are here to make sure that you leave a stamp well after you're gone. So one thing that we talked about in that book, An Anchor for the Ages, is how important it is to trust God.
Yes.
So it's not just trusting him through the pandemic. It's trusting the providence that God has and how he manages your life. Trusting him when the storm seems to keep going and keep going and keep going. We are motivated to write books that will continuously help you every single solitary time that you pick them up. You might get something right here, right now for your storm, but then you put it down and you go back and you're going, God, what are you trying to tell me? What am I missing?
Yes.
Come back and speak to me. And then he'll send you back to that same book.
Yes.
And you pick it up and you reread the same 7 chapters, but you got something completely different because you're in a different place. Understand, God always has a fresh word for you, no matter where you are and what your situation is. You can reread the same book over and over and over again. Every single solitary time, you get something different. I am committed to making sure that the books you pick up from PL Publishing not only inspire, but motivate you, but make you go to the next level in whatever it is you're doing. Even though I talk about entrepreneurship, listen, this business, entrepreneurship, is not for the faint-hearted and the weak.
No.
It is not built for you are one who be like, okay, the water done got hot. Let me go sit in the cold shower. This not the road for you, but that's okay. Because think about it from this point. Everybody brings some type of magic to the table.
Oh, yes.
Whether it's verbal, whether it's written, whether it's organization. There are so many skills that people possess that other people need. So it's okay that if entrepreneurship ain't your blessing.
Right.
Whatever it is, just make sure you do it to the best of your ability. And sprinkle a little magic.
Y'all heard that? Sprinkle a little magic. And I'm going to be doing that. I told y'all, see? I wasn't lying. She's so encouraging.
Because you never know what anybody is dealing with. And right now, in the time that we live in, everybody is dealing with something.
Right.
You want to get in a place where people genuinely listen to you, but they encourage you, they motivate you, they pray for you, they pray with you. Because you need people in your circle. Time is cut for us to stop swapping sob stories, okay? Cancel the penny parties. I need y'all to go ahead and leave those. I need y'all to get into some good motivation.
And that is a good segue into what my first question is for you. Because when you're saying to get this good motivation, when I read through Mosaics, what made you do the introduction? Because that's a whole different ballpark than just doing a chapter in a book. And for those of you that aren't writers, and you're just really getting into reading anthologies, an introduction sets the stage, sets the platform, sets the mood, sets the pace of the book. And it's to me, it's a huge thing. And the visionary on the project normally is the one doing the introduction, but not in this case. And I'm like, I'm loving it. How Deborah Franklin is. So what made you say yes to the introduction?
Well, I realized in writing, I wrote the introduction for The Anchor for the Ages.
Okay.
And I realized then that, like you say, it sets the tone.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go ahead and captivate your reader right then.
Yes.
You want to put them in the position that they are anticipating turning that page. But
Yes.
you also want to give them a snippet of you.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the authors behind me, they wrote a different story,
Right.
I wanted you to know that the authors behind me wrote a story that is going to help you just like mine did, but in a different format, because it was several key items that I needed you to understand before you read the rest of the chapters.
Right. And you did a beautiful job
Well, thank you.
of telling that and how you fused it all together. I did not read the introduction first, and I did that because I always put myself kind of in the place. I always go through and I read look at the chapter titles, kind of come up with my own thoughts of what it is, and then I start, okay, I'm doing this interview first. Let me read this. I'm doing this interview. I'm doing this interview. And then I was just like, oh my gracious. She did it. She did that thing, y'all. I read like that. And I know it's crazy to read like that, but I read the introduction last. And I read the introduction last just to see, because if someone were to truly ask me, Alenia, do you think this is a good book? Do you think it makes sense? Da, 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 da. I want to be able to say, yes.
Absolutely.
The tone is set from the beginning, what you're going to get, and each author delivered in their own way. That's the part that I really liked, was that no one's style sounded like someone else.
Right.
I truly heard their voice in their chapter, and I just, and that's why I was just like, I have to ask her what it made her do the introduction, because I'm like, I haven't gotten that bold yet. Even though I wrote a book and I was part of an anthology, I'm not bold enough to set the tone, because that to me
Crazy enough, with this one, I wasn't nervous.
really,
I was more nervous when I wrote the one with my dad. Now, I was the seasoned author. I already had 2 books under. I have my own writing process. Like, I know when it's time to go to the lab, I know what to do. I know how long I'm going to be there. I set myself up and I let it go. When I tell you that chapter in The Anchor for the Ages, that introduction gave me fits. It gave me fits. And it was like, every time I sat down, I could not get the words to make sense. I couldn't pull the sentences together. My messaging was trash. I mean, and I was just like, okay, Lord, I give up. Because I was like, okay, I'm doing the intro. I don't need but maybe 2 weeks to do this. It took me 30 days. It took me 30 days. And I had to go back and talk to my mom. And I was like, listen, I'm struggling.
Called your mama.
I did. I was like, I'm struggling, because for me, I wanted to make sure that I did my family justice. By them being first-time authors. Now, I have one uncle in the book who's a repeat author, but the rest of them, this was the first time. And I was like, it's so important for me to set their message up properly. It's so important for me to set this book up for success. It's so important for me to grab the reader. So once they get to these chapters, it's not just about, I want to read my pastor's chapter. I wanted them to be like, I want to read this book.
There you go. There you go. And that, y'all, she said it in a nutshell. Like, I told y'all, these women in this book are not playing with you, y'all. Pixie, before we leave, oh my goodness, because I have enjoyed this so much. Are there some words of encouragement that you want to leave the audience with, just from you?
Okay, I absolutely can. One thing I would want to say to everyone who's watching, no matter where you are on your journey, whether it is entrepreneurship, whether it is in the corporate sector, whether you're the stay-at-home mom who is raising babies,
Yeah.
what you bring to the table, like I said before, nobody else can do it like you. Your purpose is written especially for you. Don't take that for granted, and don't ever think that nobody needs what you have.
Right.
Everybody needs what you have.
Yes, indeed.
Nobody can duplicate you, not even your offspring. They can be like you, and they can take the lessons that you've taught them and they can sprinkle their magic on it. But nobody has your sprinkle like you. I encourage you to read this book and be able to identify with the authors one by one, because everybody's story is one that is going to touch you. Everyone dug deep within themselves and they said, I really want to pull in this reader. I really want you to understand how I made it out of this, how God helped me to get through this. So I want you to read this book with that open mind, knowing that not only did God speak to us individually, but he's going to speak to you as well. Whenever you're thinking, I can't get through it, go back and pick up that book and reread that chapter that resonates with you the most. And make sure that you have your heart and mind open for God to speak to you.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, I told you it was good. It was good. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We have one more author for part 2 of our Mosaics anthology, made from beautifully broken pieces. All right, we're going to sprinkle some magic, go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.